2, 1. Hello,
everyone,
and
welcome
to
the
KBMOD
podcast
cast episode.
302.
Okay, that one.
What? I didn't know we were separating by syllables.
I know, I did syllable. It's when we got into the KBMOD part, it really fell apart there. I should have just kept it going. Actually, and normally when I do it, we kind of altered it a little bit. This was Katie Zen's idea, by the way, audio listener. So don't blame me, guys. It's all right. Hey, we tried it. We'll get better at it. We can work on it. But it is episode 302.
I would say that was pretty good for first.
Yeah, that was pretty smooth. That was definitely not a train wreck. Guys, it is November 26, 2017, and this is the podcast after Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was, of course, Thursday. And in the United States, of course, I know Canada had their Thanksgiving a long time ago, and if you're in other parts of the world and you don't celebrate an American-style Thanksgiving, well, first of all, shame on you, and second of all, it's okay. But
we forgive
you. We forgive you. Yeah, absolutely. That's what America's about, forgiveness and understanding. That's what we do here. But how are you guys doing? How was your Thanksgiving? How was Yingity's feeling a little under the weather. His voice is pretty much shot, so he's not on this week. But we've got the normal crew. Me,
Ying is entertaining live viewers right now. He's just in the chat.
He is. He's in a little thong and he's doing his thing. He's entertaining the crap out of him. So
did I just hear a LAN 2018 donation incentive?
Oh boy, that's spicy. Ying in a thong. I don't even. Man. I feel like we could set any number for that if he was actually willing to do that. I feel like we could say $1 million and we would easily raise that.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, people would be setting up GoFundMes. Like we would.
Please GoFundMe for my donation. It's like 20 different GoFundMes going on.
Now we're talking. Now we're doing stuff people are really into. We'll have to see. We'll talk to him. He's saying no right now, audio listeners, but we'll see.
Oh, of course, that's the first reaction. I mean, I think you gotta build up a little more excitement than that. We wouldn't just drop that. On
it's funny. We gotta build up more excitement too. If Yingity's in a thong, he's really gonna hope he's not building up any excitement during that section of the reward. But
oh man.
Anyway,
it is having Ying in the chat room during this. It's kind of like he hasn't left the podcast because we can just translate his thoughts.
Yeah, Ying gets to think about his riffs before he actually has to be put on the spot. Like he can just think about when he wants to interject.
Exactly. Yeah. Unlike me, where I just completely disrupt the flow in any way possible.
Yeah. Well, you're getting better at that. You used to be really bad at it. I have to say, you're a lot better, Katie. You've really.
Thank you. Yeah.
You've come into your own. Socks.
Well, thank you.
And they're crusty. Get rid of them. Why are they on your floor? Sorry.
Oh, okay. You know what? It took a second to click. But,
I don't know where I'm at.
Anyway, enough about done that.
I know.
All right.
We don't have to go down that tangent. That's for my stream. That's quality content for my stream.
That's right up your alley. Yeah, dude. I heard some dude would like go into the corner of his room and do it, and then he started talking about how the carpet had crusted orange.
Oh,
like what the fuck? Oof. Come on, man. There are so much more. Anyways, I'm gonna stop.
So anyway, moving on from that, let's talk about your guys' Thanksgiving. How was it?
It was a big week for everyone because Thanksgiving. We'll talk about what we've been eating. But Scott, you were gone last week.
I was,
and then you're back now, and I feel like you potentially had like a bigger Thanksgiving than most people typically do.
I mean, it was definitely a Thanksgiving to remember, for sure. Yeah, I did. Okay, so other than the fact that it's always a big Thanksgiving for me because I make sure to clear the entire table, and occasionally there's leftovers, but I try to avoid that. No, it was big in the sense that I got engaged on Thanksgiving this year. So that was
congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate
everyone
that.
in their cars right now listening to this later is clapping for you right now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, so very exciting. I'm definitely feeling a lot better now that it's happened and over. The lead up to it was stressful just in the sense of like coordinating something like that. Like I work with my parents. I'll give a brief rundown of kind of how it went, but I I was planning to propose this year anyway. And so once I really kind of wanted to set my plan in motion, I had a couple ideas of how I wanted to do it. And as we started getting around the holiday season, I was like, you know, it'd actually be really fun to do it Thanksgiving because it's one of my favorite holidays anyway. And kind of what ended up happening was it was just going to be me, Tab, and my parents at their house for the Thanksgiving dinner this year. My brother was in Jersey and my sister's in Seattle. So, and she's really close with my parents, and as am I. And so I thought, you know, it'd be really cool to kind of do it and coordinate with them to help me do the whole process. So the other thing that's tough is she just opened the door and she's flashing her ring at me. She's really been enjoying being my fiance, which is
it's awesome.
I have to say, it's good. I'd much rather you be flaunting it rather than yeah, exactly. But so I got the ring. So one thing that was difficult was the fact that I stream and I work from home and stream from home is that, and she's pregnant, she's not working. There's not much opportunity for us to be apart. And, you know, it happens occasionally, but not near as often because, you know, we're just around each other a lot by nature of how everything pans out. And she's also really tough to surprise. Like, she hates surprises. She's very, like, if anything seems off, she'll be like, oh, what's going on? What are you doing with that? What are you doing? So I didn't know if I was going to be able to actually make it a surprise. So the first thing I had to do was I wanted to be old fashioned and ask her father, you know, for her hand in marriage. And so I had to coordinate with him, and this was like 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And I had to get an excuse to get out of the house to do that. Cause I mean, you guys know me, I don't go out of the house very often anyway for anything. So like,
you don't strike me as a great liar.
No. Well, see, that's Brandon. I thought the same thing, but as you will see by the end of the story, I'm starting to believe in my lying abilities, which is good because when it's for good. I think when it's actually for nefarious purposes, I think I'm a very bad liar. Also, I have a really guilty conscience, and so I can't really. But I think because it was for a good cause, I was able to rise to the occasion. But so yeah, I made up a story. I texted her dad like a week before I was going to meet with him. Asked to meet with him. It was kind of vague. And I think he kind of knew what was going on. But I had to figure out a way to get out of the house. And so I had said to her that I was going to go meet an old high school buddy for lunch. The place where we're meeting didn't make any sense because she knows where he lives. And I was like struggling with the fact where I ended up meeting her dad. I was like, I could lie about it, but then if she finds out that I lied about it, or I don't know, like any number of things could go wrong where she's like, why would you? And then I'm like in a whole real bad situation where it's like, oh, now you're lying and going to places that you said you're not going. Like, what's that for? Are you know? But anyway, I just told her where I was going and played it off. And she was like, oh, okay, that's cool. She didn't think too much of it. The real stressful part came in when the ring. So I got the ring from a website called JamesAllen.com, which I highly recommend, which they don't sponsor me yet, but would love to have a talk with them and see if we can get something moving. But they're like a really highly ranked kind of, they've got rings and all kinds of joy for occasions like engagement and weddings and other stuff. But they're all totally online. You build the ring online. So I had an idea of everything that I wanted. She had sent me years ago. She had sent me her ring size and kind of like just an idea. Cause I was like, if I ever do this, that's the other thing with stuff like this. It's like, if you start asking questions or have to kind of, I didn't want to pick a ring out that she was going to be like, that's not my style at all. Like that's also a risk. Right. So I had at least very, very good information to work off of, which was really helpful. So I went in, I got the ring, I designed the one I wanted, and I put the order in. And when I put the order in, it was going to arrive. It was planning to arrive on the 17th of November, which would have left plenty of time. I wasn't really worried about. It was like, it just has to get here before Thanksgiving. I'm sending it to my parents' house. It'll be fine. I wasn't really worried about the time because they said the 17th. Well, 17th goes by and I'm checking the order and it's like, oh, okay, no, now it's been bumped to the 20th. And you can track the whole thing. And I'm like, that's a little, okay. So now we're dealing with Monday of Thanksgiving. And I'm like, all right, now I'm starting to really stress out. And then I'm like, well, surely it'll ship Monday. I go in and on Monday, I noticed that it's now gone from being ready to ship to they're reevaluating. I don't know. They were looking at like resetting the stone or something. I don't know if they messed something up and it was the 21st now. And I'm like, okay, we're now approaching. I have no margin for error. I have this thing set up and it's now saying that it should ship on the 21st, but they're not sure. And you guys know me. I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm not somebody that constantly pulls the, you know, mean customer card, right? Or like I'm a really like irate customer. But I was pretty upset at this point because, you know, I mean, I understand things change, and they do say they're not hard, fast dates, but they really try to do ship on the stuff that they estimate. So I call them in the morning, and I'm like, hey guys, like, you know, just feeling a little stressed over here, planning to propose on Thanksgiving, and it says that the ring should ship out on the 21st now, or 21st now, but you know, I'm not sure if it's going to. Well, to get there by the 22nd, and again, they're an East Coast company in New York, and it's supposed to come from New York to Philly. They overnight FedEx it and stuff, but if they didn't ship it by the 21st to get it for the 22nd, everything's closed on Thanksgiving. FedEx doesn't do anything on Thanksgiving. You know, there's no chance.
Yeah.
So I talked to the woman. The woman I talked to was nice, but I wasn't getting the kind of really solid response I wanted of her going, yeah, we're going to fucking ship this thing no matter what happens. It was kind of like, oh, okay, well, thanks for calling. And
you want to hear that she's going to like walk out to the warehouse and take care of it.
Exactly. I wanted her to be like, can you look at it? Can you tell me that it's there? You know, keep me updated. But I mean, she was nice, but she was like, yeah, we'll do everything that we can. But it didn't settle me. So I'm laying there on the night of the 20th, really like stressing. And they have a 24-hour support like hotline, and you can text them as well as call them. And so I'd already called them, and I was like, you know what, let me get all my thoughts out in a nice long text, and let me text their support and see what they do. So I just wrote out my text. I've since deleted it because I had to delete everything related to this in case Tab saw my phone. And I basically, in a nice way, said that I was extremely disappointed and stressed at this point, because I have zero margin for error. So if this ring does not ship out tomorrow on the 21st, I'm not going to be able to get engaged, doing it the way that I wanted to. And I have to give them credit. No, I sent that text. An hour later, I had a response from them, and they were like, totally understand. They didn't. And this is good customer service. Okay. Because sure, like I'm sure there was lots of factors. I know that there's no way that they want to make this stuff go longer than it needed to, but they just said, and that's all we want, right? All we want in life is to be understood. And they said, we totally understand the stressfulness of the situation. We apologize for the delays. It is not something that we find acceptable either. And they basically, in not so many words, said, we're going to do everything, like come hell or high water, you're going to get that ring tomorrow. And I was like, damn, that was good. And so I was still a little bit stressed because they didn't send the ring out until 7:30 p.m. on the 21st, which turned out to actually be normal, which when they do FedEx deliveries, they usually do it at night to, I guess, go overnight. But oh my God. And it got there. It literally got there. My dad and my mom, who helped me with the whole process and were really cool. My dad was like super jacked up. He woke up he gets up early anyway. He woke up at 5 a.m. like wide awake. He sat downstairs to wait for the FedEx truck in my living room from 5 a.m. till 10. It came a little after 10:30. Literally, he was like, he's like, I'm not moving from here. I'm not taking a shower. I'm going to get that ring because this needs to happen. So nice. It was really cool. So the ring got there. It was beautiful. And yeah, and then the day of, I had an idea. I told my parents, I said, hey, I want you to make up this thing, which we kind of do, but we didn't usually do it at dinner. I want us to do like, let's go around the table and say what we're thankful for, and we'll do me last. And I'll act like I'm just going to do something normal, and then I'll get up and propose and stuff like that. And it went fantastic, and she was super surprised. She had no idea. So all my worry was for naught. But it's definitely my finest accomplishment. Just again, knowing you guys know people like that are just, they're so difficult to surprise because they sniff stuff out so easily. And right. Yeah, she was totally blindsided. I think also the fact that it was a holiday was really good. I think she maybe thought maybe on like Christmas or something like that I would do it, but not Thanksgiving. So it worked out. So yeah, anyway, all that to say, really happy and appreciate all the congratulations from everybody that I've been getting. It's been pretty overwhelming. So yeah, I got a baby coming in a month or less. I got engaged. We're still on the house hunt. The 30th year of my life is
you're just checking all the boxes as fast as possible.
As fast as possible. It's like it's going out of style or something. I don't know. It's a lot of it's happened at 30. So but yeah, really pumped and excited that it went as well it did. And I have to say, like, ring buying experience online, like the ring I got, like for everything that they do, it's like, it's crazy. Again, it just kind of gave me more appreciation for like the internet and internet businesses. And like, yes, you're not like physically in a jeweler, but like the way that they have it set up, it's just so insane how they're able to run a business like that and have as high quality products as they do. So shout out to James Allen. If you ever listen to this, we actually are going to have to get the ring resized, which they also do. You get 1 free ring resizing, no questions asked, after you purchase the product. So got to get it a little smaller. So I'll be telling about my experience, because that's the other thing. It's like when customer feedback, I feel like companies a lot of times only hear the negative, right? So it's like, you know what, I gotta let them know that they did something good too. So shout out to them. But yeah, so that was my Thanksgiving. Really, and it'll be easy too. Like I know, like my engagement was on Thanksgiving. I can't ever forget that. Like, I mean, that's a date, right? Like I'm gonna have that for
it's good that you picked a memorable date, and like especially right. And, you know, if your child's born on Christmas, like just hit all major dates, and then you won't ever forget any of them.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a good strategy. I'm glad that I did that. So yeah, okay. So that's my Thanksgiving. So enough about
most important thing, Scott. Most important thing to remember during this time is when you're referring to your fiance, 2 E's.
Yes. 2 E's. Yes, that is important.
When she's referring to you, 1 E. When you're referring to her, 2 E's.
Okay, that's the distinction. So 1 E for the male, 2 E's for the female.
Correct. Okay. Female has 2 E's.
I did not know that, because I've seen it both ways, but it makes sense.
No, well, you've seen it both ways because people don't pay attention to it. But I'm telling you that's why I mention it to you, because you want to make sure that you always get it right.
Right. I am being pointed out that Thanksgiving date changes every year. True, but just the fact that it was like Thanksgiving, like that's also, and like the date is going to be forever ingrained in my mind because it was also tied to.
Yeah, you won't have to do any extra mental gymnastics to remember.
In 2017,
you might have to remember. You might have to Google which date was Thanksgiving.
2017. Right, in 2017. Right, exactly. But it's like I know it was Thanksgiving in 2017. So, yeah. But yeah, so very like I said, exciting stuff. Definitely busy end of the year for me, but it's also crazy. Like you were saying in the pre-show, Brandon, like it's Thanksgiving's over. You know, Christmas season is basically here or approaching. We're almost done with November. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like this year has been just flying by.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know.
It's been going pretty fast. I mean, Thanksgiving. I feel like Thanksgiving comes so quickly and goes so quickly. Whereas Christmas, you get the lead up, but Thanksgiving, you don't get a ton of lead up. It's just like all of a sudden it's here, you know. And a lot of people, like you might have to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so you really just get like Thanksgiving and the day off after on Friday. But yeah, now we're in full Christmas mode. You know, everyone's got their Christmas decorations out. So get to enjoy a month of that.
Exactly. So how was your guys' Thanksgiving? Who wants to go first?
I can
popcorn. Go, Katie. Tell me.
Yeah, I had actually.
Did your dad cook, Katie?
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
He I worked the Thanksgiving night, and we had Thanksgiving at another place. Like we met with a bunch of other family, and I wasn't able to be there, but we made like some nice homemade mac and cheese, and it was pretty good. Much like my submission for the last week's poll. But some cool stuff happened this week. Mainly just giving each other Christmas presents or birthday presents because we can't wait, because we're terrible people. For instance, my dad has been really wanting to give my mom a new wedding ring for a long time. So starting the beginning of this year, he's been putting money aside, and he had a pretty great amount of money put aside. So he finally got her a new ring because I don't know what the issue was with the old one, but it was just not holding up too well. But yeah, so she's ecstatic about that, and she loves that. Yeah, and we did something for him as well. He's been talking for like years about upgrading the TV that we have out in the living room, and everyone says I have the credit for this. I mean, it was my idea, but I mean, I'm not the guy behind this. But basically, he works hard, and so we wanted to kind of surprise him. So it's his birthday coming up in about a week, but we could not wait for his birthday. We had to do it because of Black Friday going on, and I'm like, it was mainly my brother and I put in a lot of money with some help from my mom and my sister, but mostly my brother and I. We all pitched in and got him a new TV, 65-inch Sony Bravia, because he is really into like which brand you're getting. Like definitely, definitely not a Vizio.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, but
I could take that bullet for you.
Yeah,
right, exactly. Yeah. And so we had the idea to surprise him with it. What ended up happening was it was like, you know what, Mike, we're all kind of tired. This is my mom talking. He's like, can you go get dinner for us? And we purposely pick a place that's kind of like far away because we had ordered the TV at Best Buy and then like had it shipped to the store, picked it up then. And so like we picked it up and was waiting in the car. And so he leaves to go like about a 20-minute drive away. And so we quickly set up the TV, switch it with the one we have. We're jumping from a 52-inch to a 65-inch. And it's got, HDR, 4K, all that good stuff. And so what really sucks, what really kind of like, we didn't have it turned on in time by the time he got here. So he actually comes in and I'm recording on my phone. My mom has my sister on Skype because she lives in Florida. And we're like trying to get his reaction to it. And he comes in and he just walks right by the TV because it's not on. He's just not expecting it that much. And we're all like, yeah, hey, so. And he's in the kitchen. I'm eventually like, hey, how about you turn something on, Dad? And it's silence. And I just hear, oh my God. And so he comes down. It was just great because he was completely not expecting that. And
yeah.
He was ecstatic.
He
kept saying, it's a Sony. Because we have the Sony sound system, like everything in there was Sony, so to have it all match, but yeah, I mean, he deserved it. So it was cool for us to do that for him.
That's cool.
That's awesome. That's a healthy upgrade too, 52 to 65.
Oh my God, yeah! It's the first time we turned it on, the room was just like it was a huge jump. Like, and that night, like every time I turned the corner into the living room, I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, that thing is huge. Can we close the windows so no one sees that we have this? But yeah, it was.
Katie, just this is not totally unrelated, but while you were telling that story, I was stalking your Facebook because we're friends, and I want you to know that your banner profile photo of your family is cropped in a way where all your heads except your grandmother's are cut off, and it's the creepiest.
Oh, is it really?
I'm gonna take it. I'll send it to you. I'll send it.
Yeah, I see it. Yeah,
you see it?
Okay. It's a little creepy. I'll have to adjust that a little.
Just
bit.
Adjust it.
That's
but
just
it's
how they
so
take
it's just so
pictures.
It fits, yeah. You're going on. I'm like, man, I thought it was a great photo. What do you think?
I mean, it's a good photo. It's just can't see any of the faces in it.
We need like a hyper zoom on her face.
I just didn't know if you were highlighting like your grandmother or something. Being like, yeah.
Oh no,
she's the main one.
Yeah, she's the most important, But no, pretty exciting week.
Good.
And also just loving my new job, so I'm pretty happy there.
That's awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
That's good. So new job? Did you start a new job last week?
About a couple weeks ago. I'm one of the gallery guides at the Indianapolis Museum of Art now. So
did I miss? I don't think I was here because I don't remember that unless I'm just a terrible listener.
Oh, we just learned that Scott doesn't listen to the cast when he's not on it.
Oh man.
Well, that's true too. I mean, I don't listen to the cast even if I'm on it anyway. But
but no, I brought it up fully last week, so that might explain it. But
gotcha. That's cool.
It's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
You can go hear all about it at KBMOD.com. Have all the episodes, all 301.
I'll have to go back and do my research, my lore research on KD now. I'm behind. Cool. All right.
I will say I wasn't convinced about the difference in 4K or in HDR, but after I mainly just been playing Horizon Zero Dawn to kind of test out the difference, and that game it's only checkerboard upscaled, but it just looks fucking incredible. Like I cannot believe how good that looks.
I saw you tweeting about that this week. You were pretty into it.
Yeah, I just tweeted a bunch of screenshots because that photo mode they have for like the share option is pretty good. But yeah, it's been fun.
Cool. All right, Brandon, how was your Thanksgiving? Talk to me.
It was good. We this was the first time since we've lived here in California that we've stayed in town for Thanksgiving. We typically go back home, but we had a lot going on this year, and we're going home for Christmas, so they're so close. It's like it's kind of hard to take cross country flights. 3 weeks away from each other. So we stayed here this time and had Thanksgiving over with John and his wife.
Nice.
And
Cool.
and instead of doing turkey, we decided to do prime rib, which
Ooh,
Excellent,
wow,
excellent choice.
spicy.
it was
You
like
yes,
saved Thanksgiving.
yes, it was a strong choice that that I recommend to anyone because so we're doing the prime rib, and I don't really cook that often or make my own food from scratch, but I thought, you know what, it's Thanksgiving, need horseradish, like prime rib and horseradish.
Yes, absolutely.
So I was in charge of making horseradish sauce.
Mm.
And so I had
How'd
never
that
done this
go?
before. I actually
Yeah.
did not even know what a horseradish looked like. But the answer is it looks like a stick. It looks like a dirty stick. But it's not. So you have to basically peel it kind of like a potato. And then on the inside it's white, and like once you peel the skin off, boy, it makes your eyes water kind of like onions do. Like it is very tough to actually sit and do. So peeled the horseradish, kind of chopped it up, and then you put it in a food processor, and you add like sour cream and some other stuff to give it a little more creaminess. But yeah, so it was like in the food processor. It basically takes up feet of the kitchen. Like if anyone is in the kitchen, it will make their eyes hurt. But the final product was well worth it. It was, I mean, it was so good. Like the prime rib and the homemade horseradish sauce, it was just fantastic. So, and we had we had other stuff too. We had like asparagus and sweet potatoes and other kind of more normal Thanksgiving fare. But yeah, prime rib, man, that's I think I'm gonna try and advocate for that for future Thanksgivings, because like turkey's fine, but
yeah,
prime rib is just like it's an event.
I don't think there's ever a bad time for prime rib. I don't think like prime rib can ever be disappointing on any holiday. It's just so good. I can't remember the last time I've had. I think I was probably out and about. I don't think I've had prime rib in like a home setting in a very long time. But
yeah, it's one of my favorite. It's just one of my favorite meats to have. And just the horseradish is what makes it. So I was glad that turned out really well. And like it was the nice thing about making your own is you can kind of make it as spicy as you want. And so we sort of tried it at the first, and it was like, yeah, maybe not quite there. So you just basically keep adding raw horseradish to your sauce to get it to that spice that you want. And so John and I both like pretty spicy horseradish sauce. So so we had we got it to the point where you didn't want to get too adventurous with it, kind of like definitely like spicier than what you get out of a, I don't know, Kraft or something.
Right. Yeah, it had some kick to it. You don't want that manzy pansy.
Yeah, like you could actually, you could see the horseradish pieces in the sauce, and it was just like that was what made it for me. So that's gonna be, I think, one of my go-tos for the future. When we're gonna have a prime rib event, like maybe at Christmas or at Thanksgiving or Easter, who knows? Find a good excuse to have prime rib. It was pretty easy to make, so I feel comfortable being in charge of that again in the future.
All right. Well, prime rib. I mean, we can jump into what we've been eating before what we've been playing. That's pretty good. Pretty hard to beat. Any other Thanksgiving dishes, Katie, that you want to shout out? Or I guess it doesn't have to just be Thanksgiving. I mean, could be anything that you ate this week.
Well, yeah. I mean, nothing too adventurous this week, but like.
Do you have any update on the Wendy's situation? Are you no longer eating at that?
Oh no, I'm not really going to Wendy's too much now. But okay. I mainly was going to Wendy's before purely out of convenience before I became smitten.
Right.
But I mean, not too much anymore. Mainly for Thanksgiving, like working Thanksgiving night was when that we actually had food catered for us that night, and lucky for us, it was turkey that was cooked beautifully. Actually, good turkey, not dry, terrible turkey. So that was lucky. And yeah, a lot of good food there. But yeah, just typical Thanksgiving fare.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I didn't have anything too out of the ordinary. Like my mom makes a lot of the classics, and her green bean casserole is always really good. But I feel like Everyone likes their mom's green bean casserole. She makes these bran rolls, they're called, that are so good, that I haven't really had anywhere else. So just that bread component of the meal is always like, they're a little labor intensive, but she saves for Thanksgiving, so that's good. But yeah, nothing to compete with prime rib, Brandon. I'm not gonna lie. I may have had a more eventful Thanksgiving as far as things that happened that weren't necessarily related, but food wise, I don't know. Prime rib's hard to beat. That's like the Trump card. That's like the I walked on the moon card for Thanksgiving. Like
I had lobster.
And by the way, I made my own horseradish. Just so you know. I was gonna say, with the horseradish preparation that you were saying, it occurred to me, that's one thing that, I mean, just knowing from cooking a few things here and there, and one mantra my mom always says is like, you can always add more, you can't easily subtract.
Yeah.
That is, and like with horseradish, I guess if you just go way too hard early, like you were saying, you just incrementally add it and taste it as you go, that could get real rough.
I was a little bit worried about that at first, because the recipes, you know, we're looking at recipes, but it's hard to kind of judge how much we needed for 4 people. And so we had a whole horseradish, which is, I mean, it's a lot for, I don't know how much you could make with a whole horseradish, but we definitely didn't need all of it. And, and so we're making it, and we ran out of sour cream. And sour cream is kind of like the base of the sauce itself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you wanted to cool it off a little bit, you know, less spicy, you'd want to add sour cream. But we were out of sour cream.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I guess, you know, we're gonna just kind of wing it from here. But luckily, it was on the milder side when we started, and so we basically just like, is it still too mild? All right, let's toss in like another tablespoon of horseradish, mix it up, try it again. So we were basically just kind of testing until we got it right. But yeah, with horseradish sauce, like it's kind of tough to go back once you've put it in.
Once all the radish is in there, yeah.
Man,
what makes it horseradish? I don't even know. Did you do any?
I don't know. It doesn't look like a radish. Like if you Google pictures of horseradish, it doesn't feel like a stick, obviously, but it looks. If you just saw it on the ground, like legitimately, you probably would think it's a stick.
I see the stick comparison for sure.
It's definitely one of the ugliest vegetables I've ever seen.
Mm.
So it did not look very appealing, but then once you peel it, the inside just looks like, you know, kind of white potato like texture. So it's you definitely have to get rid of all the skin. It just looks gross.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we were in sync on that gotcha, Katie. We both said gotcha at the same time, though the intro to this podcast was not quite as smooth, but that gives me hope that we can get there.
Yeah, the potential's there. We just gotta vigorously work on it. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about what we've been playing a little bit. Katie Zen, how about you go first? What games have you been delighting in? You alluded to one a little bit earlier when it came to the 4K stuff. But
yes. So yeah, just more Horizon. I didn't really deep dive into that game too much. Just something about those, like Horizon in gameplay doesn't really do too much like new. I feel like it feels very much like just open world, visit all the X's on the map, do all the quests, and like you don't really have a lot of choice in the game. It's got like fun gameplay and it's a visual marvel, but I mean it's kind of fun just to play and like look at the graphics. But yeah, that's been interesting. Like there's something about those open world kind of games that they kind of struggle to grab me. I don't know what it is, but other than that, I've just been trying out other games, and I tried out Sonic Mania, which I own on PS4, which actually plays native 4K on PS4 Pro, which, I mean, it's, you know, Sonic, it should be. And like you wouldn't think a game that's kind of like pixelated like that wouldn't look that good in 4K, but seeing it in motion is just like, that game just looks phenomenal. Like, and it's what's great is that compared to the old HD, like main living room TV we had, is that the old one had a bit of input lag on it, and this one does not have like very much lag at all.
Well, that's nice.
And so yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and just really falling in love with that one again. I'm really sad that Sonic Mania isn't on sale on Steam right now, because that game is just incredible. I would buy it twice. But other than that, let me you know, it's been a couple weeks since I talked about what I'm playing. Let me open up here. Oh yeah, Battle Right. I've actually I've only 2 hours played, but Battle.Right recently went free to play on Steam, and I have some friends that are into it. And like, because oh man, well, some friends convinced me to jump back into League of Legends, and played through enough games to get a competitive ranking again, and I got a nice silver 3. You know, not terrible.
Okay, yeah.
So
that's better than I actually thought you would say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's not CS:GO where it's literally silver 1 or silver 1. Yeah, let's not talk about that.
I can hear his voice starting to. Like, don't worry about it. CS:GO. Don't worry.
The veins are popping. I just think about it. But I don't really have a drive to to kind of play game after game of League to improve my rank, because I just don't give a shit about that game. I can never seriously get into League because movement and combat in that game just has always felt like stilted, especially if you're playing like a support character where you have like 3 different items that have active abilities that you need to manage at the right time. Maybe I just suck. Maybe it's a bit too much for me to handle. But it just controlling that game, I've never been fond of the click where to go kind of control method in League. And then also just inherently, when you've got 5v5 gameplay going on, it doesn't matter if you win your lane. It doesn't matter if you do well, because if your top and mid and jungle are both garbage, which 90% of the time they will be, the game is lost. And so I wanted that kind of MOBA fight style without having to rely on a team too much. And then I picked up Battle.Right, which is pretty much just it's MOBA style, but you move with WASD, and it's just 2-on-2 or 3-on-3 fights using the champions against other characters. There's no items or anything like that. It's just kind of brawling, and it's like arena fights. There's like an orb in the middle you can capture to give you a health boost.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've just been queuing in that game and just trying to learn the characters. And Battle.Right is fun as fuck, dude. That game is just a lot of fun.
Try it out. I'm a little, God, I
I
like
think
the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everything you said about it, it appeals to me. Like the fact that it's not, you don't really have to worry. You don't have to play a long ass game and rely on teammates. It's mostly just focused on the fighting.
Right. That's
MOBAs. I kind of like that.
Exactly. And not really speaking too much about like what I've been playing for a second. I was thinking about League and why that game is so successful and why people still play it. If it's just these long, almost hour-long games where it's most likely going to be filled to the brim with toxic children. Like, what brings people back? I feel like it's because when you have a game that's like League, you don't do crazy stuff from the beginning. You have to play incredibly well and work with your team, and you have to make a solid, big investment into a game. I mean, depending on what kind of people you're up against, you have to make an investment. And I feel like it's kind of that way with PUBG and League also. That what kind of brings up the replay value is when you have really long games that you need to make an investment into to reach that point. Because when you watch League videos, you're watching highlight videos of people doing off combos and team fights and like 1v pentakills or things like that. Those happen so rarely. And like winning a game of PUBG, you have like 1 in 100 chance. I just thought that was interesting. That I think to a lot of people, the length of the game is an attractive like feature, like building a character.
Yeah. I don't know if people necessarily like the length of the games, but I think it goes to what you said about the amount of time you have to invest into a League or a game like a MOBA. You're already kind of like once you're in and you enjoy it and you get that little thrill of like winning or some of those moments of elation after all that time and grinding spent, it's hard to kind of just like, because I never really enjoyed the length of the games. I thought that was more of a negative thing when it came to League in general. So I don't know if it's so much people liking the length of it as they've already invested so much time into it that it's just a game that they're not going to quit because. And I mean, also the fact that it's free, but I mean, I think the same thing in, I'd say that's similar to like even Counter-Strike in general. I mean, Counter-Strike matches are anywhere from like 20 minutes in a stop, which is not necessarily all the time. An hour if it goes the distance. So those games that have a higher skill cap and take a lot of time to get used to.
Yeah, exactly. Like the building. Right. Yeah. And like I can see the building aspect or like escalating aspect in CS:GO as well for like, if you want an op, you actually have to like consecutively win rounds to earn the economy and like, You know, so it's kind of, I just thought it was an interesting tangent to go on. But
Yeah.
speaking of, you know, yeah, trying to convince us to play Battlerite together. We did play some Vermintide together with
we did
Tomb and not Tubnips.
Yes.
Well,
yeah,
Ferb,
not
right?
Tubnips.
Or
well, Tubnips and Ferb. Yep.
Ferb, right? Yeah. And that was fun. That really, I heard it was Left 4 Dead 2 with rats, and it completely delivered. It was Left 4 Dead 2 with rats. It was
definitely.
Yeah, you played a lot more than I did. I did dip out early, but it was a lot of fun.
It was good. It was a good time. It's definitely, we picked it up on sale. I don't know if I would have bought it for, I think it's like $32 normally. It's probably on sale right now. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think it's like $7 or $8 last I checked with the
that's a pretty good value. I definitely want to play more of it down the road, but were you there when Tubnips broke down laughing for an hour straight?
Oh no, I wasn't playing with Tubnips at all. I had to, yeah.
Gotcha. Well, anyway, all I'll say is I don't know what happened, but Tubnips told a "that's what she said" joke, and then proceeded to literally uncontrollably laugh for an hour. And we were crying. I was crying laughing by the end of it. It was one of the most. So I'll never forget Vermintide for that. And
I have to watch that. That sounds
anyway.
incredible.
You can find some clips of it, but then Tomb started doing this thing where he was playing Pennywise the Clown, and when Tomb does Pennywise the Clown in his voice and accent, it's just
oh my god.
So anyway, that was it was quite an experience. But yeah, I'm definitely down to play more of that, and I feel like there's a decent amount of depth in that game, and like all the stuff that you like unlock, and I don't know. I was definitely impressed. It was definitely fun.
Right. Yeah. With all the items you get, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But let me see. I'll go quick. I just have a week's worth of games. Played the new Pokemon came out, Pokemon Ultra Sun, and you know that's been fun. Evil Within 2. I've been trying to give that game more of a chance. You know, trying to accept it for being what it is, because it's like Evil Within 1 was basically not Resident Evil, and Evil Within 2 is kind of seeming like this is not Last of Us. You know. But it's the gameplay has been fun, and it's really surprised me how it's continued to keep the tension up and to actually be legitimately, you know, tense and almost scary, because all things considered, you know, I mean, it's an interesting game. I don't like, there are a lot of things I dislike about it as far as story and you know, voice acting. Good God, the voice acting. I can't stand it. But other than that, there's this game, One Shot, that I didn't play too much of yet. Yeah, about a little over an hour into it. It's an RPG Maker game. It's a meta game, kind of in the same vein as Undertale, or more recently Doki-Doki Literature Club. And it does those similar kind of things really well, and it's been a really fun game so far. It really grabbed me. I need to hurry and finish that. Yeah, One Shot. It's on sale now. It's $6.99. I can already tell you it's incredible. Like 79 minutes played, and I can already tell it's a masterpiece. Like, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, well, you know, maybe I shouldn't speak too soon, but from what I've played, it's had a really strong opening. But yeah, I recommend that. And yeah, that's all I played.
All right. Good mix of stuff there from KD. What about you, Brandon? What have you been playing, if anything?
Let's see. I've had some free time to play some games while I've been off for a few days. I got into a little bit of PUBG with a few people. I hadn't played that in a while, actually. But that was fun. I'm not digging real deep into that, because everyone who's been playing on the PTR and trying out the vaulting and stuff says they really like it. So I'm kind of in that sort of waiting mode where, like, I don't want to play so badly that I want to deal with the bugs on the PTR, but I can kind of just like play other stuff in the meantime, and then I feel like I'll probably go deep on PUBG again once those updates are out. But I've just honestly still been pretty engrossed with Diablo. We've had a kind of still a group of people playing this season, and I've gotten a character pretty much to the highest Greater Rifts level that I've ever gotten a character to. I'm able to do Greater Rift like 90 or so, which is not incredible, but is definitely better than, you know, a lot of people ever get to. So I've been playing a lot of that. and still enjoying that. I'm probably not gonna. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of getting close to being done with my Diablo fix this season, but we'll see. And then
credit, man, you've stuck with Diablo, dude. When a lot of people have just given up, you're a hardcore Diablo player.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. It's a fun thing to grind, and the nice thing is you can kind of grind it on your own. But we've still had a good group of people playing, probably 4 or 5 of us, where when I've been on the past several days, like there's someone to play with, and that makes it more fun even when the grinding gets kind of mindless. So yeah, I think I feel like I'm maybe coming out of that, but it's been a lot of fun to pour more hours into that. And I think Diablo is a great value for what it is. Like there's no microtransaction, there's no BS. You're basically just grinding and playing the game you already bought. Nice. And I bought quick aside, the Steam Link was $5 apparently over the break.
Ridiculous.
I don't need a Steam Link, but I bought one.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
I figured it's a useful thing to have should I ever decide to do some gaming on my TV.
Yeah.
So I picked one of those up. And
I have a Steam Link, and they're great. I mainly just use it for anything I can't get on my Roku. Like I just use my PC to like blast it to my TV in the living room. But I've tried gaming on there, and it actually, like, if you've got a good wired connection, like it's a very small amount of lag for identical quality. Really, like they're pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So we'll see. I don't currently have my TV downstairs wired. It's all wireless, so we'll see if we'll see. You know, I'm gonna probably try it out and see how the response time is for wireless. But you know, I could definitely see myself using it, and for $5, it's like, who cares? I'll give it a try.
Exactly.
I'll see if it's useful, if it's something that I want. You know, and like maybe it opens up a new way I want to play games. But if not, oh well, it was $5. The shipping was more expensive than the unit. The shipping was like $7. But then also, I was mentioning before the cast, Wolfenstein 2, kind of out of left field, went on sale for 50% off, which I wasn't really waiting on Wolfenstein 2 to go on sale. I just hadn't decided to buy it yet. Like I knew I was going to. But once it went on sale and it was $30, I mean, it's practically a brand new game. I was like, yeah, let's, you know, I've got some free time to play over the Thanksgiving break, so pick that up. And I'm maybe only like a couple hours in, so I'm not, you know, and I haven't been moving very quickly, so I don't really have a ton to say about it yet, except that, you know, they're definitely, like, the story already I think is pretty gripping. I think it's if you liked the previous 2 games, like Old Blood and New Order, I think that you will probably like Wolfenstein 2 because it kind of feels like more of the same. The gameplay so far is, like, honestly a little almost forgettable. Like I don't necessarily think Wolfenstein's well, in the sense that it's not much different than the other games. Like you can dual wield machine guns, and that's cool. Except that, like, you know, the new kind of wears off of that, and at a certain point, like, dual wielding is actually really, like, not a super smart way to play the game because it just wastes a bunch of ammo. So it's like you kind of have to. I feel like you kind of have to marry the desire for gameplay and, like, the smart way to play with the desire to, like, use weapons that are more fun but, like, waste a bunch of ammo. And also, I had heard from some people that the game is pretty challenging. Like it's that people are dying in a lot of sections. I kind of see that on the default difficulty. There were a few parts where like I didn't really expect to die, but I did. Like there were just more enemies than I expected to encounter all at the same time. So I actually dropped the difficulty 1 level just because, like, I'm not really there for the super challenging, you know, gameplay. And it was kind of just felt like the spots where I was dying were like there were just a few too many enemies. It wasn't like that challenging. It was basically me having to go behind a wall you know, and make sure that I don't run and gun. Like it sort of punishes run and gunning a little bit because you just keep running into enemies and you don't find enough health packs before the enemies get a few shots into you. So anyway, but like I think the gameplay is fine. Ultimately, I don't really think that's what people are there for if you've already played the other ones. But the story so far is pretty good. And I can't say too much. Like I think it's probably worth $30 just from what I've played so far, but I don't know quite how long it is. Like I'm not quite in far enough to be able to say, you know, this is amazing, this is all right. But I'm hoping I can finish that up in the next week or two. But yeah, I mean, it was on sale for 50% off, so it seemed like a no-brainer to me. And if you enjoyed the first 2 games, it's probably a no-brainer for you too.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I played through all of the first one on Uber, the hardest difficulty. So hearing that it's even harder, oh my god!
I don't recall thinking about wanting to change the difficulty in New Order and Old Blood. Whereas this one, it was like, I don't know, maybe because I went into it having heard some things about that, like it's possible that I was predisposed, but I don't remember ever having real difficulty chewing through the enemies at the default difficulty on the other games. And this one, there were a couple spots early on in the game where I was just like, oh, I didn't expect to die. And like it does a good job of saving like the checkpoints, so it wasn't a big deal. It was mostly just I wasn't getting a ton out of trying to beat all of these different enemies. Like I really just I'm there for the story. So I notched it one level down. But if you did it on Uber, I mean, like that's crazy territory anyway.
Oh my god, I could not beat that final boss without cheesing the shit out of it, dude. It was, oh my god.
I don't
and
doubt
there are plenty. Oh my god, I never again. I think maybe it must have been an hour of attempts before, like.
Yeah, but see, you're there for that sort of experience. I'm not. Like, I don't want to play against the same boss for an hour. Because like I just kind of I want the payoff. I want to experience the fight. You know, hopefully there's some cool mechanics, but ultimately I don't want to bang my head against it because like I just want to experience the story of Wolfenstein, which is a weird thing. Which is a weird thing to think about saying compared to the old Wolfenstein games, but like. The games there, I feel like now the games really are more about the story in Wolfenstein. Like in Doom, it was about the gameplay more than the story. The story was like fine, but the gameplay was really where it shined. I sort of feel like Wolfenstein is like id's story series now.
Yeah, that's really odd to think about. Like you wouldn't expect it, but just the direction and the characters are all so good in Wolfenstein.
And they really they humanize BJ Blazkowicz in a way that, you know, like you just I don't think the original creators of Wolfenstein back in the day ever would have thought that BJ would be the like deep character he now is.
Yeah.
You know, in this story.
Right. That's kind of cool to see though.
Yeah. I think it's been pretty good so far. So there's been one scene that people had talked about early on in the game that's definitely like a little jarring. So it's definitely an M-rated story. But you know, that's what you're there for. You're there for some of that edge.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. You probably not a game you want to give your 6-year-old nephew for a Christmas present though.
Absolutely not.
Might have some mad family members.
Absolutely not. That mature rating from what I've played so far is well deserved.
Yep. Okay. Very cool. And then I'll go real quick, and then we'll jump into some news. It was funny, Brandon, when you were talking, I was like, man, I wish you had gone last when you talked about no microtransaction bullshit. Because that's going to be a lot of what we discuss.
Oh yeah.
Just a little foreshadowing, but. Yeah, as far as the only game I really want to talk about that just blew my mind, which I wasn't here last week to be able to talk about it, was it's been talked about a ton by KD, who is the one who recommended this game to me. But Doki-Doki Literature Club is a fucking masterpiece. And again, this is coming from somebody I don't watch anime. I don't give a fuck about anime. I've never played a visual novel before. Really, I played the one visual novel that involved where you were at like a bird academy. Hateful Boyfriend or whatever.
Yeah, Hateful Boyfriend. Yeah,
yeah. I played that, which it was kind of funny, but this game starts out very much in that vein. All I will say again, especially audio listeners, if you have no idea what Doki-Doki Literature Club is, you're not into anime like me or anything else, don't look anything up. I think experiencing it with somebody else is really good too. Play it with somebody else so that they can bear witness to what's going on in that game. Because Katie, I think you had played it with a friend too, right? And so like you were able to kind of like be like, is this happening? You know, like not to spoil anything, but it's crazy good. Definitely up there among the favorite experiences I've ever had gaming. I think it's also when I was raving about the Emily is Away kind of stuff, with it's in that kind of vein, but I think even a little bit more crazy.
Right.
So yeah, really cool experience. Definitely check out, and it's free. I mean, there's no excuse. I mean, it's a free game.
Yeah, I'm gonna try
it. You can. Yeah, I mean, even Brandon, I think you would have a blast with it. It's
yeah, because on top of all that it stands for, it's just incredible writing. Also, like it's just a well-made like visual novel, like a book. Like
exactly, so. Yeah, it's so well written, and yeah, it's really solid. So that was definitely a surprise one. But I mean, Katie, I have to say you did not steer me wrong. And I mean, again, and I was like, man, he's really.
I would never.
Is he overselling this? But you weren't. You weren't.
Good. Man, I can't tell you the smile I'm wearing right now hearing that.
Yeah, well, I gotta give you credit where credit's due. You know, I gotta give it to you.
Yeah, last night I didn't get a chance to reply. It was like 2 a.m. or whatever time it is in Finnish land. But or Finland, not Finnish land. Hume sends me a message saying, "Oh my God, Doki-Doki Literature Club is incredible."
Yeah, Toon played it recently too. Yeah, it's a cool experience.
That game really strongly affected me because how do I describe this without spoiling it? It was one of the things you're supposed to do. I found out without having to be told from an outside source, or one of the extra things you see.
Yeah,
that happened to me, and like it just kind of made my heart stop. Maybe I was like too into it, but it was cool. Like it does things that not a lot of games do, and yeah, I really recommend it.
Very cool. Yeah. Other than that, that's really the only one I want to talk about. Been playing some CS again. Played some Fortnite last night with Stark and Nick Fenton, that'll be up on his channel, I think, at some point pretty soon. And I hadn't played the new Fortnite. I hadn't played Fortnite in a while, and man, they added a lot of shit to that game. There's now like cosmetics and stuff like that, and challenges, and you can change some stuff. And that, I mean, again, Fortnite is just a fucking pleasure to play. It's a pleasure. It runs so well. It's so well optimized. The game, if you die, you're back in your lobby and you're requeued in the game in 20 seconds max. There's no closing the game and opening the game and being like, oh, do I have a memory leak, or why can't we get in the lobby? And I think the cartoon side of it kind of initially turns people off, but man, they've really dialed in like the rifling and the gun play. The audio in the game is really solid. Fortnite is fucking great. I mean, it's a surprise because I think I was skeptical when we had talked about them kind of pivoting. Not that it didn't make sense, but like, were they going to be able to make a good battle royale game? And they're making like a really good battle royale game.
It seems like they're sort of diverging from stuff in PUBG. Like there's just stuff there's zany stuff that I feel like I'm watching in Fortnite that I mean, now they have like the launch pads and stuff. Like they're sort of leaning into.
Did you see the Summit clip of Summit riding the rocket to
no.
Oh my God, it's fucking sick.
I think I might have seen it.
You can jump one of the RPGs. You can actually like surf an RPG if you time it right. And he surfs an RPG into somebody's final base and kills 2 people. It's oh my God, it's disgusting. Super. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do. Like the building stuff isn't required. I mean, it is required in the sense of like towards the end of the game, you're going to use that for cover, and you can build a base if you want and stuff like that. But it's just, they've really struck a kind of crazy balance where I was like, man, will this be fun? But yeah, like there's a lot to manage sometimes when you're doing that, but they pull it off really well. Like the game design is really solid. And yeah, I'll read what Yang said, because he did say this earlier. He said Fortnite's future feels like quality of life updates and moving the game's content forward. Whereas for Yang, he said PUBG has been stuck in the optimization for goddamn ever. And that's right. And it is. And that's a lot of the fatigue. It's like when I go into Fortnite, it's not as obviously it's not a simmy experience or anything like that. It's a lot more lighthearted, but I don't stress. I don't get angry. It's just a much I just have a much more rewarding experience overall, and I still get the thrill. I mean, it's still a battle royale, so there's a, it's still got that kind of thing, and you also don't deal with the camping in Fortnite like you do in PUBG, which again I know they're different games, but it's just a lot different. So anyway, definitely, and it's free to play. It's free, so you don't have to drop $30 if you just want to try it out. Uninstall it if you don't like it. So yeah. So anyway, those were the two main ones I wanted to talk about. But let's move on from free to play, a game like Fortnite, into pay to play, and then pay additionally to play the game in a way that's more fun. I don't know, something like that. Because I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, Star Wars Battlefront 2 has been, I would say, mired in controversy since its launch. And this was a game
mired in controversy from before its launch.
Before its launch,
to it is now launched and is still mired in controversy.
Yeah, exactly. So again, like I said, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that the backlash for how long you have to play that game to unlock heroes that you can use when you get enough battle points and all that kind of stuff. I think they did the math and it was anywhere around 40 to 50 hours originally to be of gameplay time to be able to unlock some of these features that people should say, a lot of people probably say, I mean, they should just be unlocked off the bat, or it should be much less time. Reddit blew up. People were doing analysis. And then, of course, you have the whole system of microtransactions to be able to pay to unlock stuff with cases, or what are they in Battlefront? They're not cases. Are they cases? What do they call them? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. They're loot boxes.
Loot boxes, essentially. And but yeah, like I said, the backlash has been very strong, and to the point that I can't say this for sure, but it's looking like Disney is the one who told EA to pull the plug on the microtransaction loot crate stuff.
Yeah, so this is like a rumor,
really
a rumor last week that we talked about, that like maybe Disney sort of forced their hand. But there was an update, or like another article came out from the Washington Post, which has I guess a direct quote, or pretty much nails that, like, yes, this call did happen. And so a quote from that article, the Wall Street Journal reported that a call from, I believe, Jimmy Pitaro, who is like big wig at Disney. Chairman of Disney's Consumer Products and Interactive Media Division.
Ooh, you fucked up.
Big boy.
Apparently, the call. So there was apparently a call from him to EA's, top execs or whatever, and the Wall Street Journal reported that the call was to express Disney executives' unhappiness at how the outrage on Reddit and everything that Scott was mentioning, reflected on their marquee property. That was like I guess that appears to be a direct quote. Reflected on their marquee property. So Disney, I guess, it sounds like they did have some reaction to reading all of the vitriol online, because Star Wars that's their baby. That's the golden goose right now.
Yeah.
And so that was just interesting to see Disney sort of flexing their muscle, and apparently maybe influencing EA's decision to pull microtransactions because of all the outrage from it. And then that is not the only story that has come out of Battlefront 2 this week. Like, we had a bunch of these last week, but this week, a legislator, Chris Lee, a representative, he is a representative from Hawaii. He called out EA in a video, and called it a Star Wars themed online casino.
Ooh, damn.
He had here's a quote. His quote starts off with, "It's a trap, because of course it does." Because it's a trap, and this is something that we need to address to ensure that particularly kids who are underage, who are not psychologically and emotionally mature enough to be able to gamble, which is why gambling is prohibited under 21, are protected from being trapped into these cycles which have compelled many folks to spend thousands of dollars in gaming fees online.
I like that. Who was I talking about with this? I was talking about this last night. Maybe it was Sark and Nick, but because sorry to cut you off, Brandon, but I was just thinking about how like this has been going on for a while, and I mean, obviously it makes sense that now all the backlash, it's a Star Wars property, it's EA, but it's like, how mad do you think other companies are, like I don't know, Blizzard and stuff like that have loot boxes, that EA is the one that pushed it a little too hard and a little too fast, and is now all of it's going to come under scrutiny. Do you think they're upset?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're happy, right? Because I think
they're going to get lumped into right or wrong.
Exactly.
Like, they're going to get lumped into the same conversation.
This is what is what happens when you have examples like this. You know, once a legislator kind of wants to make a name for themselves, getting involved with this stuff, that can
this in their issue.
Yeah, like that. So maybe it ends up being a good thing for consumers. Like, who knows? Maybe there will be laws created that help, you know, the normal folks, and make loot boxes more transparent. You know, we talked about how China has already done that. Yeah. You have to disclose the drop rates for all your stuff in loot boxes in China. But yeah, I think EA basically seeing what they could get away with, and then that turning into a big public story. You know, a legislator's gonna pull that and say, hey, you know, this is something. Either one, they want to build their career off it, or two, they actually, you know, maybe are a gamer and are, you know, as upset as other people are, but they're in a position to do something about it because they're in the U.S. legislature. So yeah, this video, I guess, wasn't supposed to go live yet or something, but then he made a follow-up post on Reddit, and basically just said, like, you know, he believes in this stuff and wants to get it fixed. You know, he wants to push through legislation. There's a quote here. It says, these kinds of loot boxes and microtransactions are explicitly designed to prey upon and exploit human psychology in the same way casino games are designed. This is especially true for young adults who child psychologists and other experts explain are particularly vulnerable. These exploitative mechanisms and the deceptive marketing promoting them have no place in games being marketed to minors, and perhaps no place in games at all. So we talked about this some last week, but like, this is, I'm kind of surprised that it actually happened so quickly. This is like, I think you're right, Scott. I bet the other companies who have been, you know, trying to tread the line between what is reasonable for, you know, for free to play games and all of that, they're probably upset at EA for basically, you know, having a light shown in on the entire industry. And when they pass through legislation, they're going to point to these ridiculous examples, even though, as we've talked about a lot on this podcast, there are a lot of examples of loot boxes and stuff that aren't really that predatory, like aren't a huge deal. But they're going to get lumped into this, you know, in the same bucket as this stuff that is pretty gross and slimy.
Yep, exactly. Right. And so that distinction, you know, regardless, I know some people are like, just burn the whole system down, you know, regardless of what you think about that. But yeah, they're just all going to get lumped into the same thing. And I mean, again, and I'm kind of with you too. Like, it's a good thing in one sense. Like, I would like this to actually lead to a lot of the really nefarious and clearly predatory stuff getting kind of wiped out, or at least having some standards on what they have to do, whether they have to, you know, you have to prove you're a certain age to be able to do microtransactions that are, you know, I don't know. I don't know exactly how. I mean, but again, it's like, because I was thinking about how to deal with that. It's like Counter-Strike is a mature rated game anyway, right? Counter-Strike is a game, because we can talk about, like, again, if we want to talk about cases, opening cases, which again, it's all cosmetic. It doesn't affect gameplay. But it's like you already have kids playing, and I guess that you could say their parents bought them the game or whatever else, but not really. I mean, they're saying whatever their age is on Steam, and they're paying with their parents' credit card, and they're playing these games. How do you really control that kind of stuff? And maybe the only way to control it is to go after it, like this guy's saying that he's going to. But
I think
so
that's my worry is,
and that's
even
and
that,
that's
like,
the, yeah.
I think that this representative seems well intentioned, like, and I agree with a lot of the things that he's saying. What I think is going to be challenging is, like, generally the government is not does not have a great track record of, like, creating laws that contain the nuance that you would want to keep the good behavior in this system and get out the bad. So, like, I think we're unlikely to see a law get changed or passed that like specifies that loot boxes that don't, like, modify gameplay are okay, and cosmetic loot boxes are okay. Like, the law is not going to try and draw those fine distinctions. It's gonna paint with a broad brush. And I mean, we don't. It's not like we want everything to be outlawed. Like, there are a lot of free to play games where the business relies upon their, cosmetic skins and stuff like that. Games like League of Legends and Overwatch and other games, like, the reason they're able to release a lot of content for free is because of those paying users who are buying the cosmetic stuff. But I think there are systems where loot boxes are a net positive, but we know as gamers and people who are constantly in this stuff, we can generally spot a good system from a bad system.
Right.
The law is not going to try and do that. And I think that's what companies should be worried about, is passing legislation. Like, that worries me, because maybe that does stifle a lot of good ideas because they will be too risk averse. They don't want to risk breaking the law. And so I don't know, like, it's a big question mark how the law can change to prevent these bad systems but still allow for, like, innovation, in the gaming space when it comes to, like, pricing models.
Right. Yeah, we'll definitely have to keep an eye on it. And I'm with you too. I'm always wary of the government ever getting involved, especially because, like, when it comes to video games in general, like, I think of or even, like, music industry, video games, like, the government's track record is generally not great when blaming video games for every violent shooting that it's like. When it comes to the government and
anytime you have, like, you're exactly right, stuff like music, like video games has been attacked like this in the past. Whenever there's an argument that's like, think of the children, generally that ends up in legislation that has unintended consequences. And they'll point to the worst examples to make laws that that fit what they want rather than what is actually the best thing for the public or for the industry. So it's I think, like, I agree in principle with what this representative is saying. My worry is that what he's espousing in principle there doesn't actually translate to written law in the same way.
Yep. That's a really good summary. And so we'll take a look. We'll continue to keep looking at this as the weeks go on and months go on, and see if there is actually anything substantially done on his end, or if this continues to build up steam. But I think there's a lot of companies just side-eyeing EA right now and going, "You absolute fuck ups! Like, please, like, we were riding under the radar, or we were doing it in a way that was, like, towing the line, and we weren't going full scumlord." And now
probably EA themselves too. I mean, like, other games that EA is going to put out, like, you can bet EA as a company is going to be under the microscope after this. They've not only potentially poisoned the well for other companies, they've poisoned the well for themselves.
Yep, definitely. Well, speaking of poisoning things, I feel like there's probably no better way to poison your fan base than to design a system that they are able to perceive is ripping them off. And folks, listen, I've got a lot of friends that love Destiny 2. They've put a lot of hours into the game. I mean, I think some of them are probably sitting in this Twitch chat at the moment as we record this live podcast. And this, I don't want to say this shocked me, but I just must have been focused on other things this week. I missed this whole Reddit detective work that went into basically diehard community members of the Destiny community felt like their XP system was rigged in the game, because they were noticing that they would be doing these different quests or raids, and the XP bar initially would give them a certain amount of XP, and then after it did the first amount, which was 5,000 XP, it would seem to be giving them less XP going forward with a bar. Basically, there was an XP bar, I guess, and it didn't give you a number after a certain amount of time. And they thought, hey, something's off about this. And I believe we're referring to this as XP throttling, which, I mean, again, I'm used to getting throttled by Comcast. I mean, I just feel like we're hitting all kinds of new lows with video games. And so this came out. There was basically some Reddit detective work done, and Bungie basically came out and confirmed the findings of their community and said, yeah, that's what we're doing. But they didn't say it in a way that was, like, hey, we're sorry. They kind of said, we reviewed the data, and they said, we agree that the system is not performing the way we'd like it to. which is universal code for you caught us, and we gotta backpedal here pretty fast, right? And try to make this. So I mean, again, which isn't going to give them any points from the community for the community having to find it and then them admitting that it exists. They said, today we'd like to describe what's going on under the hood and talk about what you can expect going forward when it comes to earning XP in Destiny 2. Currently, XP will scale up when playing longer or fixed duration activities like Crucible competitive multiplayer matches and the Leviathan raid, and XP will scale down when playing activities that can be quickly, repeatedly chained, like grinding public events, which is what people were noticing when they would grind the same public events. It didn't seem like they were getting the same amount of XP after they would complete them. We are not happy with the results, and we've heard the same from the community. Effective immediately, we are deactivating the system. Which Brandon, you're somebody that you love good PR speak. Like you can appreciate good PR speak. Oh, yeah. Do you think, given the circumstances of them getting caught red-handed with this XP throttling, do you think this is the best statement that they could have done without just saying, like, yeah, we did that and we didn't tell anybody that we were doing that?
I mean, I think I think it is another one of those cases where there is no winning for them. Like, how are you going to you can't go back in time and be transparent. You got caught. And so I think in this particular situation, this is about as good as you can hope for, that they literally turned it off like as they made this post. Right. I do think that it doesn't really inspire confidence that they had to make this post in the first place. Like, I think this is this is a theme with some games, like not always in the same way, but I feel like that this idea that they would implement some more complex system for how you gain XP than just this is worth this amount of XP and each level requires more XP than the previous one. That's like a well understood trope in leveling in any game at this point, right? As you gain experience, you gain the same amount of experience, but more is required to move up. Sure. The fact that they implemented a system that throttled your XP the longer you played just strikes me as like I would have personally liked to see, why did you implement a system that clearly required more work to develop in the first place? Like, why did you decide that that was a thing you needed to do instead of the simpler, understandable, transparent system?
Exactly.
That I think is the part that they don't explain here. They basically say, it's not. You're right. We're not happy with it either. When the subtext is, we're not happy with it now that we know that you're not happy with it, so we're gonna get rid of it. But like that sort of on the dime, just like changing the system, it just speaks to like lack of forethought. Like, why did you do this in the first place?
Right.
Why did you not guess that people were going to be upset with this?
Right. And this all goes back to the theory again. So you can, these engrams, these that you can buy, well, again, these are cosmetic. So they're saying by doing the XP throttling, it's making the player feel like, man, I'm not really leveling up fast enough. I can go into the microtransaction store and I can just buy it outright. Which, again, it's hard to argue. Again, I'm not like all conspiracy hat, but, dude, we've been getting fucked by microtransactions in games for years now. It's hard to not just say, like, they wouldn't want to be forthright about a system because, like, again, people aren't stupid. So if they had been forthright and said, yeah, well, you're not going to get the same amount of XP redoing the same event over and over again. Again, I think it would have gone a lot better. I don't think people would have been happy, maybe. Or maybe it would have been glossed over. Maybe people were like, okay, that makes sense, whatever. They want to make it slower progression so that you can't spam activities. Again, I don't know what the community would have done. But like you're saying, them now trying to act like we've heard the player base. Like, you didn't hear the player base. They exposed your ass.
Yeah.
And now you're like, yeah, like there's nothing, like you said, there's no winning. And now, I mean, you can't tell anybody not to just assume that it's because it's going to push to the microtransactions and people go, yeah, you know, it looks like my XP bar is not moving that much. I can't prove it necessarily, but something feels off. Let me just buy this. Like, this is a waste of time.
Yeah, I think that's like, this is a bad look, particularly right now. Like, this is a bad look for the current time when you have all this loot box stuff going on. And I think the tension comes from what you were just talking about. Like, when this sort of thing would happen or get exposed in games, you know, in the past, when they don't involve microtransactions, you can kind of take what the devs post at face value. If they say, look, we implemented this system, but, you know, to be honest, like, we've been focusing on other stuff and we had meant to get back to this, but we didn't. And you know what? You're right. Like, we took a look at the data once you posted about it, and it's we shouldn't have this, right? Like, this is probably the wrong way to go originally. Whatever, we're getting rid of it now. And that would come off as sincere. The problem you have here is that might actually be the truth here. But you can't assume that there's not some more nefarious motive at play, because they have an incentive to have a system like this where you throttle at a certain point to get a little bit of frustration, so you open your wallet. And that's the problem, is that it breaks down that trust. You want to be able to trust that what the devs are posting is the honest truth, but you can't trust that because they have this financial incentive within the structure of their game to have created this system that arbitrarily makes you just a little bit frustrated. And so I think that's the damage that comes from having loot boxes in your game, like, because you will never get the benefit of the doubt. And if you want that benefit of the doubt, you can't have this random element where if you get one little system wrong, there's like, oh well, you could always just pay for it. And I think the Destiny team is seeing that here. Like, there's no reason we should trust them because they had an incentive to make this progression slower, and they made it more complex. Like, it's not like they forgot to do it. It's that they actually decided to make the system more difficult to understand and less simple. So, I mean, I think in this case, it's man, some serious Reddit detective work. There are graphs involved. Like, it's I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know what you do if you're the Destiny team. I think you need to take more seriously the fact that these systems are complex, but like, someone will break it down. I think the thing that we're seeing, the theme is, you will get caught. If your game reaches any level of popularity, the thing that you think people won't notice, they will notice it. And the last thing you want is to be exposed in a 10-paragraph Reddit post. Like, that's the last thing you want. Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's
it's I mean, and then talk about, like, you could have looked like the EA is shitting the bed right now, Bungie. They're hosing that sucker down. They've got 4 different kinds of diarrhea. going on over there. It's a total shit dumpster fire storm. And then somehow, like, again, even if this was just a lack of communication, like, even if I'm going to believe the best about Bungie, and I'm not even invested because I'm not playing the game in a diehard fashion. Even if I can give them benefit of the doubt and say maybe like they weren't even going to necessarily, this wasn't a big thing for them to keep a secret. They just didn't disclose it because it was important. Like they didn't feel like they needed to communicate it. Like Ying was saying before, like to expect Destiny players, he was talking about how there was like people in the Destiny community that noticed like 2 pixels off of accuracy for the hand cannon in Destiny 1. Like this is a community that will dissect everything. So it's like you would think you would at least, for something that seems like to be this integral to the game, that you'd be like, yeah, we better have an answer for that, or we better communicate that, because they're going to find out. And yeah, to not kind of be ready and be on your heels and be like, oh yeah, our system is not working as well as we thought it would, is like so weak.
I think the fact that they made a system that is more opaque and more complex than what is like the standard and has been the standard in every game ever that has a progression system. When you want to change that, and you don't think to be upfront about it, that XP doesn't scale linearly with playtime. That is just like I can't think, after now knowing this, like, why would you think that's a good idea? And if you do think it's a good idea, why would you not make it clearer in the interface or something? Like you're doing something that actually incentivizes people to play less. Which just like that doesn't I wish I could be a fly on the wall in the meetings that happened for this system. Because it's either just like complete incompetence, or they did do it because they want you to spend money. Like there's really I don't think there's much gray area there for a system like this, because it would have taken additional development work.
Right. I mean, and like you said, it could have taken a single notification for them to say a disclaimer that like you will not receive the same amount of XP. But like people are pointing out too, with the way that they address this, there was nothing saying that they weren't receiving the same amount of XP. The throttling was in the background. Right. So that just by nature seems nefarious. Like you exactly really excuse that. Like if they wanted it to be known, they could have just said a disclaimer, like if you repeat doing the same events, you're not going to get the same amount of XP. You're going to go down whatever 1,000 or 2,000 by if you do it 5 times in a row. Like
it's like the most forgiving explanation that I could come up with would be a meeting, where they decide we want to do this XP throttling system. So the developers say, okay, well that's going to take like another week of development time or whatever. Sure. And they say, oh, but we also need like notifications. Now that we're going to have the system in place, we need to let players know that like they're moving toward getting less XP or something like that. And then like they say, well, we don't have time to do that. Like this is already going to take a week longer. We don't have time to also put in new notifications and stuff. And so the most forgiving explanation I could give is that like a bad set of choices was made, that they decided to implement a system that was confusing, and then they didn't implement the stuff that should have gone along with it, which is like, if I'm going to start getting less XP from public events or something, there should be like some meter or something where I know that I'm like out of the best public event XP, and I'm now in grind mode where I've got to grind a little more to get less XP. Exactly. Like I think there is a way that they could have done this system where players wouldn't have necessarily been upset about it. They might have still made Reddit posts about like I'm not getting enough XP for the time I'm playing, but it would have at least been clear. And I think now they're in the worst of both worlds, where players realize that, one, it wasn't clear, and two, they've been grinding. I mean, people have been grinding this game for like over a month now, and on PC and even longer on console. Like the fact that they're not going to go back and make this change retroactive, I assume, like they haven't said they're going to, so they probably aren't. So all that time people spent grinding, they just like they're not going to get that time back. Nope. It's presumably a go forward change. So they've angered all their hardcore customers by the fact that they've already done all the grinding, and the people who do it from now on, they just get more. They're just going to get more for less playtime, and hardcore players hate that. They hate feeling cheated.
That is like the cardinal sin, right? I mean, like if you're a developer and you have a diehard community who really likes a product that you put out, to me, that I don't know if there's anything like making the community distrust you. I feel like has to be number one. Like that's like the foundation for. I mean, and again, not that there aren't casual players and stuff like that that will still play the game, but that's a pretty number one thing. Like, don't betray your fan base, or even act in a way that your fan base can seem betrayed. I guess, like, because sure, like. I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Not crazy. Like it's not surprising to me, but I guess again, in light of like all the other stuff going on with EA and stuff like that, it's like, man, you guys really
it's just it's a bad time to be in the news for something like this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
to end on a lighter note.
A lighter note. Yeah. Good God.
This whole week, like normally Thanksgiving week is just no news at all. But this week has been like bad news or like scandals or just like negative, like drama.
Yeah,
it's not even news really about games. It's like meta news. But this one's kind of rough. So we talked last week about how Marvel Heroes was gonna shut down, and they were winding down. Apparently, they were going to wind down Gazillion, the company that makes Marvel Heroes, and they were going to shut the game down as of December 31st. And so that that seemed bad enough, right? That like people could buy stuff up until a few days ago or something, in this game that's getting shut down in a month. So that's pretty rough. Well, guess what? As we do this podcast, I have not verified for myself. Apparently, the game is actually already shut down. This came out earlier this week, they apparently just shut down on Friday, and Gazillion laid off all of their staff the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's fucked up.
That's a really rough.
Apparently, again, I don't know how if this has been like fully substantiated, because I've not seen an official statement come out. Like the website's still up. But there's no official statement aside from the fact that they're shutting down the game December 31st. Apparently, like some Gazillion staff had said on Twitter and stuff, they're not getting any severance or being paid for their PTO, and that their medical insurance is ending next week. That's not just layoff. That's like we have literally no money.
Yeah, that's it. Like, yeah, we got to cut everything off. Yeah, that's
like expect lawsuits from employees for lost wages type territory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is not good. You guys talked about it last week, and so the 31st. How long has that game been out for?
It's been out since like 2013. It's been out for a while, but it's gone through some different iterations. Like I think they ended up becoming free to play, and as I recall, like the free to play model was pretty aggressive because like they would gate heroes behind payment. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know anyone who played this game religiously, but I know it's gone through a few different versions. And I think the Marvel Heroes Omega was coming out on PlayStation, I believe, and so that got canceled. Like it seems like it's been pretty rough. But I'm like, I don't know that I've ever seen this, like something like this happen where they announce. It would have been like a little over a week ago, because we talked about it on last week's podcast. They announced a shutdown plan. And they're like, all right, we're going to shut down December 31st. To make that announcement and then just fire everyone the day before Thanksgiving and shut the game down before you said you were, like, what happened? How would they not have known? How would they not have known to just announce that when they did the announcement in the first place?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, what went down in between? Like, were they just trying to like save face, which is not good?
I have no idea. How would you not know that you're going to be like? How would you not know the timetable by which you're going to be insolvent Because it seems like that's the only reason they would have done this so quickly, is if they actually had like no money and couldn't make payroll. But man, I mean, no official statement, no anything. It's just like finding out from ex-employees on Twitter is just like, that's not the way you want that story to go.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, definitely not.
So,
wow, yeah. So definitely depressing news. Sucks for, of course, everybody working working at Gazillion, not working at Gazillion anymore. Hopefully they find something and lay on their feet. But yeah, right before Thanksgiving, right before the holidays, man, that just taints your whole, laying off an entire company, just dissolving right before it's like, well, my health insurance is gone. They're not paying you can't even at least even if the company, if you get laid off or their company's going to fold, you're like, well, at least I can, take a breather, relax for a little bit. Again, we don't know for 100% about the overtime pay and but if that's true, it's like you get, having been laid off before, and it's like at least you get to breathe a little bit. It's like, nope, I got to figure out what I'm doing next. That's rough.
It's like normally when this stuff happens, there's at least some amount of compensation for the transition, so that hopefully people aren't their health and stuff isn't put in jeopardy. But just medical insurance being gone, not being paid severance or PTO, that's I don't even know if that's actually legal in their state. Some of this stuff is I feel like you're probably inviting lawsuits from your ex-employees because this is pretty standard stuff. And I don't know, hopefully there will be some expose or something on how this all went down. But I feel like there has to be some financial mismanagement or something, that they thought they had money they didn't, or something. How does it get to this point where you make an announcement and then actually end up laying everyone off and shutting the game down a month before, right after you make that announcement? I just feel like that's, you look at that and you're like, that's pretty disrespectful to all your employees. If you guys were going down the tubes, this announcement probably should have happened a few months ago, so that you could smoothly transition them instead of people losing their health insurance and stuff.
Yep. Brutal. Definitely brutal. Katie Zen, how about you take us from just the depths of despair that we're in after having those 3 stories we just covered into a quick hit.
This article was actually written for you.
It was written for you, and it's just a bright spot in just an otherwise just clusterfuck of depressing gaming related stories.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So stepping away from just, the downward spiral of the video game industry, we've got Blood-Borne news. What? The game came out in 2014. Yeah. What kind of news could there be? Well, let me take you back to 2014 when the game was coming out. The game came out in 2015, but in PlayStation Experience 2014, there was an on-stage demo of the game where they're playing through the Chalice dungeons of the game, which are these randomly generated levels you can go through. I personally didn't go too deep into them at all because, it's not really any content adding to the story of the game, but it's not a PC port. I'm sorry, I just saw that in chat. I'm sorry to spoil that. Sadly. Oh my God. And from the demo we saw, there was a certain enemy, an enemy that was this undead giant that had these 2 big swords, which did appear in the full game as kind of the boss character in the Chalice dungeons. But the certain variant of the enemy in the trailer where one of the swords was on fire, for the longest time, it was assumed that never made it to the final game because nobody could find that. Now, 3 years later, people who have been dedicated to searching the Chalice dungeons, because I'm confident there's still more stuff there that hasn't been found, because there are already enemies that are extremely hard to find, like the Hold Digger. That guy is a ridiculously low chance of finding that enemy. But someone actually found that monster in the game 3 years after the release. And it's just crazy because it spurred a bunch more people to start going into all the different possibilities of the Chalice dungeons, what enemies will spawn. And it's just, the games like this and Dark Souls, they're just games that keep on giving. Yeah. Even with Dark Souls 1, I'm finding out new stuff about it every single time I play. And it's cool to see something like this. And, maybe it's possible someone before has found, you know, this monster but never recorded it or something, because people in the comments are like, oh yeah, I saw this guy in my playthrough, it's no big deal. But actually publicly being revealed is I mean, it's nothing mind-blowing, but it's really cool that there's still secrets about this game that's already filled to the brim with detail, like still hidden away, being found.
I think stuff like this, like little Easter eggs or awesome. things that remain undiscovered for a long time, are really part of the charm of games. Because this reminds me sort of I don't know if you guys saw the story about, or the series of stories about the what is it in GTA 5, like the Easter egg that they're still like the community's trying to unravel, and they still haven't fully figured it out, but there's like some very complex Easter egg in GTA 5 with the mountain.
I remember reading about that. Yeah, that they were working on it. Actually,
yeah, it's just like I think it's so cool when there's stuff like this in games that gets found like years later. I don't know. It's just, I feel like if I was making a game, I would want to put in something that has, you know, a really low chance of being found, but maybe eventually gets found, is like, you know, 0.1% chance of happening or something, or I don't know, maybe lower than that.
Oh yeah.
I just think it's cool. Like, it adds to the mystique of the game, and I feel like the Dark Souls series already has a lot of that, but this just adds to that, like adds to the mystery of the series.
Definitely. Yeah, that stuff is always super cool, and that, you know, from my cynical, cold heart that you can't help but have if you pay attention or work in any kind in the game industry in any form. You know, it's stuff like that. It brings a little, you know, makes me feel like a kid again. You know, makes me feel young again. Like when people are discovering that kind of stuff. It's like neat. It's
awesome.
It's a positive story. It's a good story. So
definitely.
Thank you for that.
So,
take us out. Take us to the next two quick hits.
Right. Well, before I start my fourth playthrough for Blood-Borne again to find this monster.
Yes.
But here's a game that I will never play through again in my entire life. Sonic Forces. Now, I'm not sure. Now, if you're going to see Sonic Forces in the news for a second time on the KBMOD podcast, it better be for a damn good reason. And despite all odds, it is. Sonic Forces is getting a free DLC download where for your OC that you make in the game, you customize with different clothing and hats and things like that. You can now download a shirt that has the art of the Sonic meme on it. Poorly drawn Sonic on t-shirt, which is just incredible. I mean, Sonic has always been, you know, their social media
very
really
memey. Yeah.
Yes, very endorsing memes, and now it's showing in the games themselves. And I mean, this isn't really something I could be upset about, or anyone can be upset about, but this is just, I mean, this meme is 7 years old, according to people, but it's incredible. It's living on. And so yeah, if you for any reason plan on playing Sonic Forces, make sure you download the Sonic t-shirt, and then after that you can play a good Sonic game like or Sonic Colors, any of those. But yeah, just this is
such an uplifting section compared to the actual news section.
Right. It was so much more uplifting.
Exactly.
This is what games is about. Missing monsters for 3 years and Sonic meme t-shirts.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Speaking of which, Sonic Generations is sale on Steam right now until November 28th for $6, and it's absolutely worth it. I recommend everybody pick that game up. But for our last quick hit, PUBG has recently rolled out their private, it's in their private test server, their new update, which is featuring, I'm pretty sure the desert map is playable in that test server. But from some data mining, 3 more weapons have been uncovered from the files, which include a flare gun, a Winchester lever action rifle, a Rhino revolver, which, I mean, I see those articles, how to make your man come with one easy trick, and then I just hear Rhino revolver, and that does it. Ooh, that makes the gears turn. And then also a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun, which is also a treat. So
nice.
So yeah, just an interesting. I mean, we got to keep PUBG in the news somehow.
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
well, we can't have a podcast without. I mean, again, it was funny. I was actually scrolling through just randomly on the website this article's on, and it's like, oh look, there's a PUBG article under that article. Oh look, another one, and it's just God,
Oh my God, you're right.
entire
Oh,
sections
no.
just dedicated to PUBG. I mean, PC Gamer has its own PUBG section, so
I feel like PUBG is just on, like it's on the cusp of having a lot of new stuff. It's all in test, like the vaulting,
right.
the new map, new guns. Like there's still a lot they're working on, but it's like it all is sitting in this limbo of their test server while they try and work on getting the core game out and out of early access.
Right.
And I hope they don't squander that momentum, going into next year, because Fortnite is on their heels. We didn't put this in the news, but Call of Duty Online in China is going to have a battle royale mode. Like
my God,
games are going to start having battle royale modes, and so I feel like PUBG's got to capitalize on this crazy momentum they've had throughout this year.
They do. Speaking of every game having a
I know what
battle
you're
royale
say.
mode, do you? Because I got an email that Warface has added a battle royale mode, the free-to-play shooter. Yes, that I play with Stark recently. They've added a battle royale mode. See if I can find it. But I was like, wow. I mean, not that it's super shocking, but Battle Royale is absolutely free. Start playing now. 16-player Battle Royale. 16-player is their back. What else is in the email? They have
What are they doing?
More than 70 weapons, loot crates, airdrops, and the bodies of your enemies. Dynamic 4-minute fights, which I don't know what that means.
But
I'm gonna have to try this shit out though.
Players.
The biggest in-game map and new in-game achievements. So this week on my stream, man, I'm testing out the Warface Battle Royale, dude.
16
we're doing it.
Wow.
Go
ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I laughed at that at first because I was kind of expecting, something to closely follow, Fortnite or PUBG. But the more I think about it, it's like, I'd kind of be down for a more intimate, engagement like that, where you're not jogging across the entire map, Yeah, something like that. Something like the Minecraft Hunger Games mod, I could be down for that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. One more thing about PUBG. They did officially reveal 2 more weapons. I don't think we talked about this, but the EP-28, which is a new machine gun, which can be found everywhere on the new map. And then they're also adding an AUG that's only going to be in care packages. So.
Gotcha. Cool.
All right.
So from super depressing news on the state of the gaming industry to some nice little treats to make you feel better to everyone's favorite section, the new releases.
Oh, easily.
Katie Zen, take us away again.
I got it, baby. So first up this week, Star Ocean: The Last Hope, which is a game that was previously only on 360, then they got ported to PS3. Which I heard was good, but I didn't really give it too fair of a try because, just something about that game. There was in the cutscenes, the characters look like Disney World mascots talking to each other, the way they're animated. I just couldn't get into it. But I love Star Ocean on the PS2. That's like my guilty pleasure video game. And that's not getting remastered, but The Last Hope is getting on, it's going to arrive on Steam. And in the title is Star Ocean: The Last Hope 4K and full HD remaster.
Yeah.
So specifically, as if you can ever play this game in 4K in 2017 on your computer. No word on a price yet, but yeah, November 28th, that'll be on PC. So yeah, check that out if you're into Star Ocean.
There are 2 trademark symbols in the name of this game.
There are.
Star Ocean trademark, The Last Hope, and the trademark is after the dash. So is The Last Hope dash, is that the official name? Like that's the trademark name, is The Last Hope space dash?
The CEO is bringing up an E3 is just mumbling when he brings up the hyphen. It's like the Star Ocean: The Last Hope
hyphen tab.
Yeah. So yeah, look out for that. Next up, which there are certain indie games coming out which don't really appeal to me, but I throw in because they're more popular than others. There's this game called Driftland: The Magic Revival, which is a debut title from Star Drifters, which is a pretty badass name for a development team. But it's a single-player strategy game simulation. It's going to be launching in early access, and it looks like it has quite a good level of polish. It's like you're restoring the world, sort of like a Bastion style. So yeah, it looks interesting. Another promising indie title is 7: The Days Long Gone, which is made from the same people that made a game called Colad, which came out back in like 2015, which is like a horror game. I don't think too many people played that one. But yeah, 7: The Days Long Gone is a open world isometric role-playing game where you play as a master thief. And yeah, it looks better than Bottom of the Barrel, which is more than half the games on this website.
Can I say that it has nudity in it? So I'm definitely gonna have to.
Oh, absolutely.
Nudity just pushes it over the edge for me.
Oh yeah, so. That's what really elevates it.
Definitely. But the art style actually looks pretty interesting. Yeah, like the
art style. The art style doesn't look like it lends itself to nudity.
That's where I'm really curious. Like, what do we get? Is it a cutscene, or am I just going to see my dude's ding dong hanging around occasionally if I get the right skin, so to speak? I mean, what are we dealing with here?
That'll be in the loot box. So
yeah, probably.
Both those games do have nice looking art, though.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, for like first or second games from devs, I'm always excited or like surprised when they have that level of polish to them. So that's cool. Oh. But last up, which is definitely the most important this week, is Doom VFR, which is the new VR expansion for Doom, which I'm pretty sure is going to be some like a few standalone levels that aren't in the main game that are fully playable in VR with your favorite HTC Vive that you don't have. And yeah, it's going to come out December 1st. It's only going to be $30, which is a great deal if you've already put some time into Doom. And yeah, Doom, one of the watching this and watching gameplay of VR, I think they added in an element of slowdown at some point, like sort of bullet time in certain areas. I might be thinking of something else, but I just remember looking at Doom VR gameplay and thinking, wow, this actually works a lot better than you would think. Definitely unlike Skyrim VR, which just looks like nonsense. I was watching gameplay of that, and you could see the axe floating one-to-one with his hand, and he's just touching the guy in the head with it. It just looks so jank. But this actually,
I'm watching the trailer. There's definitely bullet time in the trailer at least. So yeah.
Oh yeah, that after playing Super Hot VR, that just seems like a necessity.
Yeah,
I'm curious if they let you actually rip and tear. That's sort of their tagline. And there's some kills in Doom where you're using your hands. So I wonder how creative they get with that in VR.
Like the giant like brute enemies where you rip out like their heart, put it in their mouth. Oh, doing that in VR. Oh, if that's not in the game, I'm gonna be very disappointed.
Yeah, that could be worth the price of admission.
Definitely.
All
right. Yeah, good price too at 30. So, all right, that's gonna do it. We've got some viewer questions. Take it away.
We do. We've got 2 to be exact. The first one coming from Killer Bob 5, who asked us, I think a very leading question, but when you are home alone and are going to use the bathroom, do you still lock the door? And I say this is a leading question because this implies that when I'm out, I lock the door.
Well, it also implies that you close the door when you're home.
That's right too.
Alone.
That's right too. Lots of things assumed here. No, not only do I not lock the door.
Hold on, let's dig into that. Do you still lock the door? And you're annoyed with that assumption?
I'm annoyed with that assumption. No, that's true. If I'm out in public, generally, yes, I will.
Generally. There's a lot. There's a lot of leeway there.
I had a situation where a cleaning lady came in, and when I was taking a massive shit and opened the stall door, that when I used to work at that software company before I moved out to Machinima, and so that kind of is mess with me a bit. But no. I'm okay with him saying that. But you're right. It's also the assumption though that when you're home that you shut the door. Home alone.
That's a more questionable assumption.
Yeah.
If
I'm home
you're the only one
alone,
at home, why even bother closing the door? Like, if anything, you'll air things out quicker with the door open.
Right. Well, I think the way I read this, I don't think about the bathroom door being locked. I think about like the door to your house being locked.
Wait,
like,
what?
Yeah, there have been times when, like, because I'm someone who's very paranoid. Now, okay, hold on, Chuckles, hear me out, buddy. No, listen. So, oh my God, there are times when, like, I'm someone who's very paranoid about like my house being broken into.
Okay.
And there are a lot of times when, like, when I'm home alone, I always make sure the door is locked. I mean, obviously, but there are times when I'm in the bathroom, and like my dog Chelsea, when strangers come by, when people pass by the house, she just loses her shit and starts barking. And so if I'm in the bathroom and I'm committing and I'm dropping a powerful weapon into that toilet, and Chelsea starts going off, I'm thinking, oh my God, did I lock the door?
Someone's in the house.
If someone's in the house grabbing all my shit, I'm not gonna jump out of the bathroom with a log hanging out with, you know, get out. I'm not gonna be that guy. I mean, like, I'm just gonna hope he doesn't, you know, check the bathroom. But
also, I guess then in your case, it's a two-tier question. Because let's say that you're worried. If you are in fact worried that you left the door unlocked, do you then lock the bathroom door to give yourself that extra layer of protection should you have forgotten to unlock the front door and someone breaks in?
You know, I do. Like, what if someone is like, let me think. How do I want to phrase this? I don't want to say too much.
You don't want to give away your strategy here?
No.
In case there are any would-be burglars?
So one time I was, Reagan, my brother, he's getting ready for work. And I'm in the bathroom dropping a load. And he was kind of falling behind. He needs to get going. And he's like, you know, David, I need to brush my teeth.
Okay.
Can I go in there? Can I just, he wanted to, you know, grab his stuff out of there. And I was like, you know, dude, I'm not down with that. Just give me another 60 seconds and I'll be out of the bathroom.
Okay.
He's like, just let me open the door and come in. And I'm like, no. And what does he do? Understandably, he opens the door. He's fed up. And he grabs his items, which I don't resent him at all for this choice. I probably would have done the same thing.
Okay.
But in that situation, I would have locked the door because I do not want any foreign entities entering the castle.
Intruding on your go time.
Exactly. Yeah. I need a lot of focus. Right. We just talked about bullet time for Doom. That's kind of what I go into. I use the bathroom.
Different type of bullet time.
Yeah,
everything slows down.
Yeah. When you're putting in that final push, boom, everything stops.
Katie, do you just need more fiber, buddy? Do you just need to get more fiber, maybe?
Like I probably do, yeah.
Get some more fiber, you'll be okay.
You know, since then I've started to get a little paranoid. You know, you never know what can happen. You never know if someone's walking down the hallway and they just don't check and see if anyone's in the bathroom. They just open it up.
But I think the question isn't it Home Alone? It's Home Alone.
Are you saying that you're? Are you saying that you're not
that aspect of the question?
Like, are you maybe concerned that sometimes you think you're home alone and you're not, so you just don't want to take any risks?
Risk it? That why?
I don't want Chelsea to get too curious and nudge the door open with her nose.
Okay,
that's a fair, normal answer.
Right? Yeah, maybe I didn't need to go that far, but you know, I feel like even if I was home alone, I would lock the door anyway, just because I'm weird like that. I mean, I would feel better mentally if I had the door locked.
Okay.
But I know it's weird, but it's just, I mean, it's.
I'm kind of with you too. I understand the one aspect you're saying. Like, if I know, like, I always keep my apartment door locked if whether I'm here with somebody or not, whether I'm here with Tab or not. So if I know my front door's locked though, and I'm home by myself, I'm shitting and peeing with everything open. I mean, I got 4 cats. They've seen everything at this point. I mean, there's nothing that they're going to see that's, you know, if it kills one of them, I'll have one less cat, so I can't be that upset. So if anything, I'm always.
You have some backups.
Exactly. There's backups. Yeah. So, but even not, definitely when it comes to number 2, I definitely will always shut the door. Number one, not always. It just depends on my mood.
Definitely, yeah. I remember one time I was doing it, and the door was closed, but not shut. And Chelsea just comes in, and she's standing on the floor, and I'm like, "Hi, Chelsea," and then she does one of these, expecting to play with her. I'm like, "Not now, Chelsea! I'm in the middle of something."
Yeah, dogs are a lot more. Dogs are a lot tougher when doing that stuff because. I mean, there ain't nothing stronger than that area of your body to a dog, smell-wise. So they just want to check out what's going on, So
yeah, I can understand. I can definitely understand closing and/or locking, even if you're home alone. If you have a dog, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I'm home alone, I'm definitely not worried. And I mean, I keep the front door of my house locked all the time, so that's not
right.
I don't have this anxiety that KD does about his door being unlocked. I solve that anxiety when I walk in because I always lock the door to my house when I walk in.
Right.
I don't know, man. I'm just when I hear Chelsea barking, I'm in there. I'm like, oh my god, did I lock it? Do I have the back door locked? Do I have the bar in place?
I now see where some of that anxiety comes from. It's the dog.
Right.
Oh no, it's like because it's usually when the dog barks. Like, what if I'm in the shower or something, or if I'm in the bathroom and like someone's knocking on the door? Yeah. I'm like, there's no way for me to solve this issue.
Yeah. And what if they just walk in your house and then the door's open and now you're vulnerable?
Yeah. They just do a Pulp Fiction and just shoot through the shower curtain.
I mean, at least you've thought this out.
I have a lot of free time on the toilet. Different possibilities of my death. My death by means of. All right, let's move on.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on from that question, but good question from Killer Bob, even if it was a little bit leading. King Alex asked us, "Do you think Microsoft will ever recoup the money spent on Minecraft? Have they already?" I mean, this one seems like a short answer for me.
Oh, yes. I mean, I think they will. I don't know if they have already, but I think they will in the long run because Minecraft is. Like Minecraft is a platform now. They keep making new stuff for it. Like they're gonna find more ways to monetize Minecraft over time. Just you wait.
What was it? $2 billion? They did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh my god. Yeah. I don't think that. I think you're right, Brandon. They definitely haven't got it yet, but. Minecraft is not going to end with Minecraft.
I also think like you could see the Minecraft purchase sort of being sort of what am I trying to say? You could see them making their money back a little tiny bit at a time, like when they sell against education stuff. Like I don't know how this stuff works, but if Minecraft makes its way into schools or something and there's like a Microsoft deal that Minecraft is part of, then it's not like people are going out and buying Minecraft, but Minecraft is one piece of like maybe a big deal with a school system or something. So they might end up making their money back a little bit at a piece at a time on Minecraft because it's now part of like the Microsoft and Windows ecosystem. So I don't think they would have made the deal if they didn't have grand plans for it over like 5 or 10 years. And I think we're probably not even seeing like a lot of that vision yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, I don't know what it's hard to know. I feel like I also feel like Microsoft's not not a stupid company. So they have to have evaluated like, okay, they 2.5 billion, that's a lot of money, but I just don't see that kind of trailing off or peering off anytime soon. I feel like it's just continuing to. I mean, I don't know how, like you said, not all their stuff has come to fruition yet, but I think so.
Right.
I guess the question though is yet too. He said yet. I don't know about yet. Like, do you think they've done it already?
Yeah, and I know things like the Minecraft movie are being worked on, and that'll definitely be a bit that'll sell regardless of
right
what that could be.
They might have already done $2 billion in revenue. I don't know about like $2 billion in profit. They're probably investing a lot of money at the same time as they're making money. Like Minecraft is still a juggernaut, but
Right.
they're probably working on some capital intensive stuff too. So yeah, I don't know, but I mean, they'll definitely. I think they'll recoup it. Like Microsoft, when you say ever with Microsoft, Microsoft has a very long time to recoup that money. Like they're,
Right.
Minecraft might be a 30-year play.
Yeah.
They're still, their core business is still like Windows and Excel and Microsoft Word. Like these are programs that have been around a long time. So if you think about Minecraft in that same vein of just like a thing that Microsoft owns that they plan to make money on for decades, like, yeah, they're going to recoup that money for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. So all your questions about Minecraft, about Microsoft as a company, whether or not we lock our bathroom doors or homes when we shit or pee, definitely we're here to answer the tough, burning questions.
Yeah. Some answered with more detail than others, but
sure, absolutely. Katie, then what you described is, I don't know what you said, a log hanging out, or what did you say?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that one.
I'm never gonna hanging out. So you said I don't want to be caught with a log hanging out. I'm just imagining you, Katie, just naked with a big ass poop log. Oh, I'm never.
I'm just aggressively walking through the house. I'm like holding a wet towel, ready to like any home invader. Get out of here!
I'm pretty sure, Katie, if like there was somebody in your house like going to rob it, and they walked in on you in the bathroom, and you had a log hanging out, that would be over, and they'd be out of your house in a second. So you don't have anything to worry about.
That's true, man. Have you seen those videos? Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. There are videos where like people try to start fights with people, and then the guy it's like a prank video, and they just start stripping down naked, and the obvious reaction, the other guy just starts running the other way. It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
it's an effective strategy. I'm confident that if I ever get into, like, if my physical being is threatened, I think I might just actually like strip naked. It's like, what are they gonna do? Like, punch a naked man? No, you're not.
Definitely not a naked man with a giant poop log on his.
Yeah, that's true. I might have to produce a log in that situation as a deterrent.
Yep.
I mean, if you have a house invader, like being able to be at the ready to use biological warfare, maybe not the worst. Maybe not the worst way that situation goes.
They're trying to ban. The United Nations is go against like chemical warfare and like weapons, but they're not ready for the actual terror logs.
Definitely. Definitely not.
That needs to be addressed.
All right. Well, moving on from that, this is where we would have the iTunes podcast review of the week, but we are reviewless. We are barren on the iTunes page, at least as far as anything new. There are lots of really solid reviews from episodes past that you can go and take a look at if you would like. It's very simple. Just log on to iTunes, get on your account, leave us 5 stars, which is the only requirement, and then put anything you want in that box. I'm just encouraging you to look for inspiration from some of the other great reviews we've had. I believe our very own Volition Brandon himself has reviewed the podcast, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm usually the first one that shows up because I think people have clicked like I found this review helpful or something, so it puts that one at the top.
Exactly.
Nice.
So maybe take some inspiration from Brandon and leave that. And if we like the review, we may read it on the cast. You have an Android? Well, it looks like you're gonna have to make a goddamn gonna have to go pick up an iPhone, or I don't know. I thought Android's so good, Lucas. Can't you spoof an iPhone on your Android device and log in? Sorry, I don't know why I'm targeting Lucas right now because he has an Android, but there's ways to do it, folks. So just do it, figure it out. And yeah, of course, you can check out the KBMOD website for build guides, use the multi-stream, check out different articles. We didn't have anything new this week, but generally we'll have some either reviews or previews, hardware stuff, kbmod.com for that. Of course, on Twitter, we are at KBMOD Gaming, so you can follow that up. Katie Zen is at KatieZen_. Volition is at Volition, VOL1TION on Twitter. Follow both of them. And you can follow me as well at APL Fisher, but I'm assuming you already are, so I'm not really worried about it. I'm always happy to go last. So no, I'm just kidding. You probably, I mean, I don't really tweet that much anyway, but yeah, feel free to throw me a follow or any.
There's going to be baby pictures at a certain point.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. It's all just going to be converted to that in a month or so. So
It's gonna be food pictures, baby and food pictures.
Yep.
You'll turn into every other dad.
It'll be memes about how tired I am as a new dad, right?
Yep.
Like dad memes, like
Yep.
yeah.
You're gonna be soon enough. You're gonna be posting like pictures that have a 9gag watermark on them.
Oh my God.
Exactly. The transformation will be complete soon. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to episode 302. It was a blast as always, and we'll be back next week with another banger of an episode. But thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Farewell. Yatta! Owari monster!